Have you ever heard the story of the girl who married a spirit warrior? This isn't a fairy tale, but a legend whispered among the ancient tribes of the Great Plains, a story of love, courage, and a bond that transcended the veil between worlds. It begins with a young woman named Ayesha, whose name meant little one in the language of her people. She was known not for her beauty, though she was fair, but for her spirit, a spirit as wild and untamed as the prairie winds. Ayesha was different. While other girls her age learned to weave intricate patterns into blankets and prepare hides, Ayesha's heart was with the hunt. She could track a deer for days, read the stories written in the clouds, and speak to the birds in their own language. Her father, the chief, worried for her. In a world where a woman's value was tied to the home and the hearth, Ayesha's spirit was a flame that refused to be contained. Suitors came from neighboring tribes, offering horses and fine furs for her hand. But Ayesha turned them all away. Her heart, she said, was already taken. It was taken by a whisper on the wine, a shadow that moved faster than a striking falcon, a warrior she had only seen in her dreams. His name was Kale, a name that meant strong wine. He was a spirit warrior, a guardian of the land, tasked with protecting the balance between the human world and the spirit realm. He was fierce, powerful, and utterly alone. For centuries, he had watched the world of mortals, his heart a stone in his chest, until he saw Ayesha. He saw her courage, her compassion for all living things, and the fire in her eyes that matched the fire of the setting sun. One evening, as Ayesha was tracking a wounded wolf, not to harm it but to help it, she found herself cornered by a massive grizzly bear. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced her heart for the first time. The bear rose on its hind legs, its roar echoing through the canyon. Ayesha stood her ground, clutching her small hunting knife, knowing it was a futile gesture. She closed her eyes, ready to accept her fate, but death did not come. Instead, she felt a sudden gust of wind, so powerful it nearly knocked her off her feet. When she opened her eyes, the bear was gone. Standing before her, shimmering in the twilight, was a man. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with eyes that held the wisdom of the stars and a face carved from the very rock of the mountains. He wore no earthly clothing, but was cloaked in shadows and moonlight. Ayesha knew, without a doubt, that this was Kale, the warrior from her dreams. She wasn't afraid. It felt like coming home. "You are brave, little one." Kale's voice was low, like the rumble of distant thunder. That the world of spirits and the world of mortals were not meant to mix. Ayesha, never one to be told what to do, simply smiled. "Perhaps they were," she replied, and no one was brave enough to try. From that day forward, Ayesha and Kale met in the twilight hours, in the sacred space between day and night. He taught her the secrets of the spirit world, the language of the ancient trees, and the songs of the river spirits. She, in turn, taught him about the human heart, about laughter, about tears, and about the profound, simple joy of a shared meal under the stars. They fell deeply in love, a love that was as natural and inevitable as the changing of the seasons. But their union was not without its challenges. The elders of Ayesha's tribe grew fearful. They saw her connection to the spirit world as a dark omen. Crops began to fail, the rain ceased, and a strange sickness fell upon the village. The shaman declared that a great spirit was angered, and that a sacrifice was needed to restore balance. His eyes fell upon Ayesha. They blamed her for their misfortune, believing her love for a spirit warrior had brought a curse upon them. Ayesha was heartbroken. She loved her people, but she could not forsake Kale. That night, as the warriors of her tribe came to take her, Kale appeared. He did not come as a shadow, but in his full, terrifying glory. The wind howled, the earth trembled, and lightning cracked across the sky. He stood before the tribe, a whirlwind of power and rage, his eyes glowing with ethereal light. The warriors, brave men who had faced down herds of bison, dropped their weapons and fell to their knees in terror. But Ayesha stepped forward, placing a calming hand on Kale's arm. "No," she said softly. "This is not the way." She turned to her people, her voice clear and strong. "You are afraid of what you do not understand," she told them. "You see a curse where there is only love. This sickness, this drought, it is not from the spirits, but from the imbalance in your own hearts. You have taken too much from the land and given nothing back. You have forgotten the old ways." She explained what Kale had taught her, that the land was a living entity, and that their disrespect had wounded it. To prove her words, Ayesha walked to the barren field at the edge of the village. She knelt, placing her hands on the dry, cracked earth. Closing her eyes, she began to sing. It was not a song of her people, but an ancient song of the earth that Kale had taught her, a song of healing and renewal. As she sang, a soft green light began to glow from her hands, spreading out across the field. The villagers watched in stunned silence as tiny green shoots pushed their way through the hardened soil. The earth was coming back to life before their very eyes. Awe placed fear in the villagers' hearts. They saw now that Ayesha was not cursed, but blessed. They had been blind, their fear making them cruel. The chief, her father, stepped forward, his eyes filled with tears of shame and relief. He knelt before his daughter, not as a chief to a subject, but as a father to the child who had just saved them all. He begged for her forgiveness and asked for her guidance. From that day on, everything changed. Ayesha became a bridge between the two worlds. With Kale by her side, she taught her people how to live in harmony with the land again. The land healed, and the people prospered. Ayesha and Kale were married in a ceremony that honored both the traditions of the tribe and the laws of the spirit world. Mortals and spirits celebrated together, a testament to the power of a love that had defied all boundaries years past. Ayesha remained youthful, her life sustained by Kale's spirit energy, while her friends and family grew old around her. It was a bittersweet existence. She was a queen among her people, revered and loved, but she was also an outsider, caught between two worlds. She missed the simple mortality she had once known, the shared experience of growing old with those you love. Kale saw the sadness in her eyes. He knew that while he could give her an eternity of love, he could not give her a normal life. One day, he made the ultimate sacrifice. He told Ayesha that he had to leave. A great darkness was gathering on the edge of the spirit realm, a threat to all worlds, and he was the only one who could stop it. He promised to return, but he couldn't say when. He kissed her one last time, a kiss that tasted of starlight and sorrow, and then he dissolved into the wine, leaving Ayesha alone once more. Ayesha did not despair. She continued to lead her people, her wisdom and grace now legendary. She knew that Kale's love was still with her. In the whisper of the wind, the strength of the mountains, and the endless expanse of the prairie sky, she lived a long, full life, and when her time finally came, she did not die. She simply walked out into the prairie one evening during a beautiful sunset and, like her spirit warrior husband, she dissolved into the wine, her spirit finally free to join his. And so, the legend of the girl who married a spirit warrior lives on. They say that if you walk the Great Plains on a quiet night, when the moon is full and the stars are bright, you can sometimes feel them. You can feel a sudden, warm gust of wine that's Kale, and you can hear a soft, sweet melody carried on that wine that's Ayesha, still singing her song of healing and love. Their story reminds us that the greatest barriers are the ones we build in our own hearts, and that true love, in its purest form, has the power to unite worlds. It teaches us to respect the unseen, to listen to the world around us, and to have the courage to love, no matter the cost. Thank you for joining me on this journey into legend. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales from the crossroads of history and myth. Until next time, stay curious.